to the table, instilling magic in the hearts of children and their families who've enjoyed this film for the past 25 years. You know that thing you're all chasing the whole movie? The third brain is right here. I mean, to be making things like that in-house here that children dream of I owe that to our film community here. Because before this film, Texas was known for doing Westerns and stuff. This big Willy Wonka, James Bond action movie was something really new. It showed that we could do any kind of movie we imagined here. And it changed the workforce even. When I meet families that grew up with these movies, they say how much Spy Kids inspired them to be closer to their siblings when they were growing up and gave them something common to play, act, and imagine themselves being Spy Kids. I just met a Neuralink scientist yesterday, and she told me about what the movie meant to her when she was a child. And you see them always, their face lights up, and you see the child in them again, really get excited about how much time they spent with their siblings watching these movies and dreaming about them. It's the most beautiful gift you could hear, those stories and meeting people who made it a part of their lives. So I'm grateful for Texas. For this film, really couldn't be made anywhere else, because here we could truly be outside of the movie industry here. And George Lucas told me that. He said, it's so smart that you live in Austin, because when you live outside of the box of Hollywood, you automatically think outside of the box. You will stumble upon innovations and ideas they'll never think of over there. And he was right. I mean, through the Spy Kids films alone, we were the first to film movies digitally here. We were the first to shoot all green screen movies, make the first digital 3D movie with Spy Kids 3D that revitalized 3D movie making. So many innovations started right here in Austin at this studio because we just stayed outside of the box. So I'm very proud of Texas, proud that this was my home state, and that we were able to create something here that is generational, that has had so much impact that it even entered the U.S. Library of Congress for being culturally significant. We gotta be really proud about that. And about that, it was the first movie franchise to showcase a predominantly Latin family in the leads, to the point that when the studio first read the script, they said, but why are you making them Latin? Why don't you just make them American? And I said, well, they are American. And they said, they are American. It's not taking place in another country. But they said, you know, they were worried. They went, well, if they're Latin, won't only Latins go see the movie? And I said, I mean, I don't think so. I think that because they're spies, it opens up the appeal for it to be for anyone who wants to see a family spy film, I think. I mean, I really didn't know either, because at that time, and this was only 25 years ago, there was no other movie I could point to as evidence where it was even attempted before. So of course they were worried, and they said, why not just change it so as not take the chance? So I said, well, because it's based on my family. Growing up in Texas, I can't change my family. Well, that still didn't convince them, so I had to come up with a different reason, because I actually understood their concern. And I didn't have a good answer, which is what it was going to be a gamble. Was it really worth the gamble? We know now, of course, it was worth the gamble. But at the time, I thought about it some more, and I finally came up with the winning argument. I said, okay, here it is. You don't have to be British to enjoy James Bond. I said, by making him so specific to a certain culture and place, he becomes universal. Pretty good, right? I mean, they bought that argument. And there's 5 of those movies now. So on that note, I have to give an extra special thanks to my uncle for being such an inspiration for this movie. See, my uncle was a special agent in the FBI. And I remember seeing it written on his badge when I was a kid. It fueled my imagination. It said special agent. Not secret agent, it was special agent, but I didn't know the difference. I was like, and he was the only FBI agent to bring down 2 top 10 criminals in the US. So that really inspired me. That's why Antonio Banderas plays, like you said, Gregorio Cortés. He's named after my uncle, Gregorio Rodriguez. So the lead characters, Carmen and Junie, are named after my 2 siblings. And I'm just so grateful that I was raised in such an inspiring, amazing, loving family here in Texas. And through this movie, got to share our family stories and our family values with the rest of the world. One of the greatest gifts was getting to work with the 2 spy kids themselves, Daryl and Alexa. I love that they say I changed their life because they met their spouses through me, but that really they it was, reciprocal. We all changed each other's lives. They changed my life and the lives of my children in a significant way. And it's a mind-blowing concept, but they really inspired me to challenge my own kids so much more than I would have done otherwise. Because every day, Daryl and Alexa, there were no stunt kids for them. They had to do their own stunts. They had to do wire work, things they never encountered before. And I would see just how much their confidence would be boosted by taking on major challenges each day as they discovered who they even were and what they were even capable of, day to day, film to film. And it just amazed me seeing them turn into these super children before my eyes. And it made me realize I really need to push my own children that hard and challenge them, because I don't think you don't necessarily think to do that to your own kids. You'll do it to your actor because you're paying them, but not to your children. And then seeing the people they became because of it. And so I started doing that. Now I have the most amazing children. So now I have to thank Daryl and Alexa for that, because they set the bar really high. One of my favorite experiences, my son Rebel was on wires right on that green screen, and he's like, "How come I have to do my own stunts?" He was not into it. He didn't apply for that job. And it's like, just do it. So it was a life-changing experience. And in their grown years, Daryl and Alexa each went on to have beautiful, loving families and children of their own. They each have 3 children. They continue to inspire and be role models to this day. Another grown fan told me how she grew up with the movie. She went on and on, but she went, "But those kids turned out to be great kids. They still inspire me today. They didn't turn into some of the movie kids. They're really great people and still inspire." So that's amazing. So to Daryl, you were such a wonderful boy in those movies, who is now an amazing man, terrific actor, but also a family man, a wonderful parent. Alexa, you're an incredible artist, producer, amazing mother. I could not be more proud of the both of you for taking that legacy and expanding upon it. So thank you, Austin. Thank you, San Antonio. Thank you to my family. Thank you to my extended family, which is my Texas crew, my Texas cast. Thank you with all my heart. Thank you.